Welcome. Enjoy watching.
Rode without her.
Brett hadn't meant to stop. Just gas up, maybe grab coffee. But Memphis pulled him in the way smoke pulls into lungs. Slow, warm, dangerous. He saw her at the diner. Bella. Red lips. Tired eyes. Smile like trouble in silk. She poured his coffee with a wink that said, "Stay a little longer." He did. Long enough for her to end her shift, slide into the passenger seat of his rust-colored Charger, and take him into a night so hot it blurred the line between lust and warning. She was gone by morning, then back, holding 2 coffees and a question. "Can you take me to Little Rock?" He almost said no. Almost. But that smile again. The road unraveled beneath them, heat shimmering on the asphalt. They talked in half-truths. She liked Bonnie and Clyde's stories. Said she was done with Memphis. "Nothing but ghosts," she whispered. Brett watched her fingers play with the hem of her denim skirt. He should have turned around. He didn't. Not until the sirens came. She'd stolen from her boss. Tips, she said. But it wasn't tips. It was thousands. From a back room safe. Brett slammed the wheel, heart like thunder. "You used me," he muttered. "I trusted you," she snapped back, tears slicing her cheeks. But he was already turning. Downtown Memphis. Sirens closing in. He pulled up to the police station. Said nothing. Just pointed at the door. She stared at him. "You said you hated ghosts," he said. "Time to let one go." Then he drove. Fast. Headlights slicing open the night. Blues guitar on the radio. No rearview glances. Just the road, the music, and a heart that knew better now. Brett didn't sleep that night. He drove until the sun smeared the sky with gold, then pulled into a motel outside Little Rock. No messages. No sirens. No Bella. He didn't know if she was in cuffs or running barefoot through back alleys. He didn't care. At least that's what he told himself. 2 days passed. On the 3rd, she called. Blocked number. Static. Then her voice. "You left me." He almost hung up. But something about the way she said it, like a bruise beneath a whisper, made him listen. "You used me," he said again. "I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. You were kind." He laughed, sharp and dry. "So you stole a bag of cash and dragged me into it?" "I didn't drag you. You stayed." He couldn't argue. She was right. He'd known. Somewhere deep down. He'd known from the moment she leaned in too close over his pancakes. He just wanted the lie more than the truth. "Don't call me again," he said. Before she could answer, he ended it. Then threw the phone out the window like it was infected. Later that night, while filling up at a gas station, he saw her face on a small TV in the corner. Wanted Bella Reeve. Armed robbery. Suspected accomplice. They used his photo, too. From the diner. Just a grainy shot of him laughing beside her. Looked like a man in love. Or maybe just a man about to lose everything. Brett vanished. He traded the Charger for a battered Ford pickup with Texas plates and paid cash. Grew a beard. Slept in roadside motels with the curtains pulled tight. Every knock at the door twisted his gut. Every glance in a gas station mirror reminded him of that photo. Her eyes, his smile, the lie frozen in pixels. A month passed. Maybe more. Days blurred like headlights in rain. He worked odd jobs under fake names. Bartending in Amarillo. Hauling boxes in Lubbock. But every night she was there. In flashes. In static. In the space just before sleep where memory becomes a blade. Then, in a dive bar outside Odessa, a man slid into the seat beside him. Slick hair. Too clean for the dust. "You, Brett." He didn't answer. "Didn't think you'd run this far for a girl who played you." The man dropped something on the bar. A USB drive. "She sold you out, you know? Told the cops you kidnapped her. Claimed she didn't know about the money. Crying her way through the whole thing." Brett stared at the drive like it might bite. "She's out. Cut a deal. Witness protection, maybe. New name. Clean slate." The man stood. "Thought you'd want to know." Then he was gone. Brett downed the rest of his whiskey, hands steady now. Bella had lied one last time. deep enough to bury him, then walked away clean. He pocketed the drive. If she had a new name, he'd find it. And he'd make sure she remembered the one she buried. The USB drive was a vault of rot. Hotel security footage. Her laughing with the cop who took her statement. Bank records tracing the money to a private account in Arizona, opened 2 days before they met. And audio, that's what gutted him. A clipped recording, probably from a wire. Bella's voice, calm and smooth, like syrup over poison. He was easy, just some drifter with a good smile. I didn't think he'd take me that far. But hey, guess he liked the ride. Then laughter, not hers alone, the officers too. Brett stared at the laptop screen in the dim motel room. The sound of that laugh stuck in his skull like shrapnel. The betrayal wasn't the sting, it was the performance. The way she'd sold his kindness like it was a weapon she wielded without guilt. He shut the laptop and lit a cigarette with shaking fingers. He hadn't smoked in years. By sunrise, he was already on the road again, headed west. He didn't want revenge. Not exactly. He didn't want her hurt. He wanted her seen, stripped. He wanted the people around her, new name, new face, new town, to know exactly who they were smiling at. Not the girl in distress, but the one who'd watched a man burn so she could walk away in clean clothes. And Brett, he'd make sure the whole town watched when the smoke cleared. Phoenix, that's where the trail ended. Fake name, real tan, white-walled apartment with bougainvillea on the balcony. Bella, or now, Sabrina Vale, was a barista at some hip coffee spot near downtown, working tips like nothing ever happened. Brett watched her for 3 days, sat on park benches, took photos, recorded her smiling, laughing, flirting with some guy in a band tee. She looked lighter, like the past never touched her, like his life hadn't gone up in smoke while she sipped iced lattes. He uploaded everything to a burner phone. The USB files, the footage, her fake documents. And one final touch, an email from a friend sent to every inbox at her cafe. Manager, co-workers, even the city's local crime blog. The subject line was simple. Who is Sabrina Vale? Within hours, the place buzzed. Co-workers whispering. Her manager called her into the back. The band T guy stared at her like she'd grown fangs. Brett watched it unfold from across the street, sipping bitter black coffee. She came out 20 minutes later, eyes wide, pale, shaking. She looked straight across the street like she knew. But he didn't flinch. He just stood. Let her see him. Let her feel it. No words.
No confrontation.
Just the weight of truth crushing whatever fantasy she'd built. Then he turned and walked.
No chase. No guilt.
Just the sound of her name. Not Bella. Echoing behind him like a door slamming shut. By nightfall, Bella or Sabrina or whatever mask she wore now was gone. Word spread fast. A post from the crime blog went viral. Coffee shop con artist. Who did you serve this morning? The comments exploded. People from Memphis to Phoenix connected the dots. A waitress with sticky fingers. A mysterious drifter framed. The girl who vanished twice, leaving flames behind her. But Brett didn't stay to bask in it. He was already halfway through New Mexico, radio humming low. No destination, just distance. At a desert rest stop, he watched the sunset bleed across the sky like something finally exhaled. He didn't feel victorious, didn't feel free, just steady. For the first time in months, he pulled out an old postcard he'd found in his glove box weeks ago. Memphis skyline, faded blues and golds. On the back, he scrawled 3 words. You remember me. No return address. No name. Just the silence between them. He dropped it in a mailbox and didn't look back. Because some ghosts don't haunt you to chase. They haunt you to remind. And some roads don't lead home. They just take you far enough to forget how much it hurt. Weeks passed. Brett found a rhythm. He fixed motorcycles in a small shop near Flagstaff. Cash under the table, no questions. He drank less, slept more. The nightmares thinned out like fog after rain. But sometimes, just before dawn, he'd wake up gripping the sheets, heart racing, her name caught in his throat. Not Sabrina, Bella, the version of her he'd met in Memphis. The soft voice, the cracked edges, the lie he still wanted to believe. One morning, a letter arrived. No name, just a Phoenix postmark and handwriting he hadn't seen in months. Inside, a single photograph. Bella sitting on a bench. Not recent. Memphis, probably. She was looking away from the camera. Lips parted like she was about to say something, like she didn't know yet how it would all unravel. On the back, "You were the only real thing. I never forgot." That was it. Brett stared at the photo for a long time, then folded it gently and slid it into the back of his wallet. Not as forgiveness, not as closure, just a reminder that love, even when it's a lie, leaves something behind. A bruise, a scar, a trace of fire that doesn't stop burning just because you survived it. He stepped outside, engine rumbling beneath his boots. No destination, just forward, because some people go back. But others, they learn how to disappear without ever being lost again. Monsoon season rolled in hard, washing the desert clean. Brett rode south, trading the quiet of Flagstaff for the dust and noise of El Paso. He didn't speak of Bella again. Not to the shop owner who gave him a cot in the back room. Not to the waitress who sometimes brought him pie with a wink he never returned. But memories have their own pulse. He'd catch himself watching the sky for rain, the streets for danger. Her voice would cut through music like a ghost threaded in static. Then came the message. A burner number. No name, just a link. He shouldn't have clicked it, but he did. A new news story, a different city, different name, but same pattern. A man now missing. A café, a bag of money. The woman's description. Dark hair, sharp smile, vanished before dawn. The ending, though, was different. Authorities believe the suspect may have been killed during the escape. A crash, a fire. No body, but enough wreckage to assume. Brett sat on the edge of his bed for hours, phone flickering beside him. Was it her? A setup? A message? A way out? He didn't know. And maybe, finally, that was the point. He walked outside as the sky cracked open with thunder.
Lit à cigarette.
Let the storm soak him through. Maybe she was gone. Maybe she'd never really existed. But for the first time, he didn't need to know. He just stood there, letting the rain come. Brett never looked for her again. He kept moving town to town, leaving behind no name and no story. The road became home, not because it healed him, but because it no longer asked anything from him. Just miles, just motion. Years passed like shadows across the highway. Sometimes, at night, he'd pass a diner glowing in the dark and remember the way she'd said his name like it was a secret. Sometimes he'd reach for the dial on the radio, hoping to find that old blues riff from Memphis, like some part of him still lived in that first mistake. But he didn't stop anymore. Then, one day, a postcard arrived. No return address, no message, just an image. A diner.
Familiar.
Memphis. Closed down now. Windows boarded. Sign rusted. But there was something else. Written faintly along the bottom edge in smeared ink. Not all lies are meant to hurt. Some just didn't know how to be true. He almost threw it away. Almost. But instead, he tucked it into the glove box, next to the photograph she'd sent years ago. Not as hope, not as forgiveness, as proof that some people never disappear. They just live in the spaces between what you remember and what you can't forget. And Brett, he drove on, dust rising behind him, radio low. The road didn't ask why, and he didn't need to answer.
Rode without her.